There we go. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. It's wonderful to see you all here today. We're here together in this beautiful virtual space together. And this is mindfulness in daily life. And this is the fourth of our series of four mindfulness and daily life episodes. And this time we're going to be talking a little bit about mental health and stress, which I trust is a familiar topic for all of us, and one that has universal importance for all of us. As always, thank you to the American Center Moscow for creating this platform for all of us. My name is Busshō, and I am a mindfulness practitioner and a teacher here in the Midwest in Minnesota in the United States. And mindfulness is something I'm going to guess is familiar to all of us. But if this is if you're brand new and this is your first exposure to this idea, what we're talking about today when we're using the word mindfulness is simply our capacity as human beings, that all of us have a capacity to be present to our experience of being alive, that's outside or separate from our critical or analytical or divisive functions. That's just a very simple sense of presence that we all have, right? And the mindfulness movement, mindfulness meditation, mindfulness practice are all just organized or structured ways of exercising this function that we all have, becoming more aware of it, getting better at using it. And of course, we just become more aware beings, you know? And because what we're talking about is a way of being present that doesn't include the critical function, the critical function, you all know what criticism is. It makes sense that when we're talking about mental health and stress, that our ability to be present with curiosity, acceptance, wonder, a willingness to connect is incredibly important, right? Incredibly important. So we're not talking today so much about self-improvement. We're talking about reminding ourselves and practicing our capacity to be present to something with a willingness to connect. A willingness to just be with an experience from a really loving, tender, kind, accepting place, right? So I know my words make sense, and I know you all can recognize that you have that capacity. Some of us practice this a lot, and some of us not so much, but we all recognize it's a universal human quality, right? Isn't that a relief to recognize you already have what we're going to be playing with today? So to help us shift gears at the beginning, as we're getting used to doing now, let's just take a few minutes. If you're listening to this, of course, as a podcast or as an audio experience as you are driving or walking or running, you'll have to wait until later until you can do this. But for those of us who are here live together and are able to sit down and take a little time, please grab a cup of tea, light a candle maybe if you like. You can see I like to do that. Maybe sit up in your chair or in your seat. Connect yourself to your feet. Connect yourself to your body. Turn off your phone. And let's just spend a couple of minutes reconnecting ourselves to our body and our breath. I'll ring my bell here, my favorite bell, and we'll sit for just a couple of minutes, and I'll offer a couple sentences in there of guidance, and then we'll be done with that, and we'll move on to our topic today. But I think it helps us to shift gears by just reconnecting a little bit with our body and our breath. So take just a moment to recognize the parts of you that are in contact with the earth. Your feet, maybe your legs or your knees if you're sitting on the floor, maybe your seat or your chair back. Just notice how still that is. It's kind of nice to have one part of us that's always touching something still, something stable, something reliable. It's holding up our life. There's the earth and its reassuring tug, the gravity pulling on our bones. Our home, holding us close. Isn't that nice? There's a safety there in that stillness and that very faithful, stable earth. And you can feel it. It's not an idea. It's not an idea of stability or stillness. You can feel it in your muscles, in your bones, in your body. It's right there. It's a very literal fact of your experience. Right? We're sharing that experience with each other right now. We are all feeling together the same still earth. Right? Plenty of stillness for all of us. There it is, right there in our bodies. And likewise, I'm sure you can notice how that body that you are being present to moves slightly when you breathe. All of the movements and the sensations of being in a breathing human body. The places in that body that you can feel that breath the most easily. The temperature of that breath that changes. Cool on the way in. And warm on the way out. And the gentle constriction and expansion. The sound. The taste. The texture of the breath. All is moving. It's a very dynamic landscape to be present to. No two breaths are the same. Each one, like each moment, a little different. Like each face, fingerprint, or snowflake. So another thing we all have in common. Just like we're all held by the same still earth, we're all experiencing the dynamic landscape of breathing. It's so faithful, so reassuring. All right. All right, well, I'm blinking my eyes back open again. I like to close my eyes usually for the first couple minutes of even long meditation periods to do just what we all did together. I like to close them for the first little bit to really help me connect to a particular sense or a particular sensation. And body and breath, there's a lot going on. You just noticed it. There's a lot going on, actually. Seems like nothing's happening. But to actually be really present to a sitting, breathing body, wow. And closing my eyes helps me be a little more present to the still earth and to the movement of the breath. You can try it both ways. Try it maybe with your eyes open sometime. Try it with your eyes closed. See kind of how that works for you. Thank you for doing that with me. And it's a wonderful segue, a nice way to start and a nice way to shift into what we're going to talk about. You may notice right now, maybe you feel just a little bit different than you did 10 minutes ago when we started. Maybe not, but maybe. Maybe you noticed a little shift in how you experience your life right now. A lot of people describe feeling just a little calmer, a little more present, a little more spacious after just sitting and allowing body and breath to be the center of their awareness for even a few minutes, right? 3 minutes, 5 minutes. If you have more time, and we get better at doing it, 10 minutes, 15, 20. But it actually doesn't take very long for us to start to notice a subtle shift. So let's start there today. Let's start with the simplicity of what you just did. Right? Like I have before, I'm going to remind us all of something. You didn't actually do much, did you? You were already 20 minutes ago, before we joined each other for this live stream, you were already breathing, of course. And already you were in contact with the great earth. You were walking, you were sitting, you were doing something. Some part of you was touching the earth, and you were already in a body that was breathing. So all you actually did for those 5 minutes we just sat together was you paid attention to it. You noticed those things, you pulled them into the forefront of your awareness. And most importantly, the second thing you did was you paid attention in a specific way. You allowed the sensations to arise. You let yourself notice. Can you feel that first movement of just, I'm allowing? I'm connecting to the experience that's already here. I'm curious about it. I'm open to experiencing it. Right? These sound like small things, but they're not. The implications of these small moments of curiosity or willingness, acceptance, connection are profound. Because what we didn't do was try to change anything. We didn't have an agenda for the body. We didn't have an agenda for the breath. We weren't trying to change it. We weren't trying to twist it. We weren't trying to make it into something else. We weren't trying to hurry it along. We weren't trying to slow it down. We weren't trying to get away. For just those 5 minutes, we were just wide open to, hey, I'm sitting and I'm in a human body, and therefore I can feel gravity and stillness and movement and temperature and texture of breath. All of that is happening. And I just experienced that. Wow. The reason that's such an important part for us to start with when we talk about mental health and stress reduction is the spirit of our practice, our mindfulness practice, is a perfect place to start when I begin to realize not only am I in a body that experiences stillness and gravity and breathing, but I'm also in a body and a human life that experience emotional stress, suffering, pain, constriction, difficulty, resistance. Wow. It makes sense, right? And the spirit we just sat with, I wonder what this is. I wonder what this is. I wonder if I can notice it. I wonder if I can create a nice space, a nice container in my awareness to allow these things to arise and be known. I'm well on my way to beginning to work with things like mental health and stress from a place in me that is immediately about relationship with those things. Right? You understand what I'm saying. Relationship with, as opposed to I have an adversary that I am trying to defeat, or I'm having an experience that I am trying to eliminate. Mindfulness doesn't work that way. So what you just did and some of the seeds that you planted by I'm just going to sit and be with a body and breath for 5 minutes is exactly the muscle that we need. Right? It's exactly the beginning of exercising exactly the muscle we're going to need when we talk about mental health and stress. Right? What this is not is stress elimination or seeing stress as an enemy. Mindfulness doesn't see anything as an enemy. It just has an open curiosity about experience, a desire to understand, a desire to be with, a desire to accompany, to allow, to listen to relate to hold. I'm just listing words. I hope you understand what I'm saying, right? Mindfulness of body and breath, and mindfulness of stress, mindfulness of affliction, mindfulness of suffering, no different. The practice, the spirit of the practice itself is the same. It isn't about getting rid of something. It's about opening to and understanding something, relating to it skillfully. So I'm saying this because that starting point is really, really important, right? Already posted to this YouTube site is a presentation I gave a few months ago called Mindfulness for Stress Reduction. So already there's some stuff that I've offered in this stream on this site. Some of my thoughts on that kind of was a one-off. Please, if you have an opportunity, revisit that. I'm only saying that now because I don't want to go down those same places. I want to try to do something a little bit differently today, but there's a relationship with what we already talked about with mindfulness for stress reduction. And that was, I think, 5 months ago or 3 months ago or something like that. I'm terrible with time. But I'll repeat myself. We're not wanting to eliminate stress. Stress, very literally, is a strain upon a system, a stress or a strain upon something, right? That's not a bad thing. That's just a thing, right? When we go to the gym, remember last month we talked about resistance. We need it. I'm picking up the weights because that is going to stress the muscle. It's going to strain the muscle, not in a bad way, but it's going to offer resistance to, and me working with the resistance of Earth's pull, gravity, on those weights is going to make my muscles stronger. Right? When we learn something we never knew before, we just pushed past an old understanding to include something bigger. Right? We just expanded. You have to stress the old limit in order to pop into a new limit. I just got stronger, kind of, when I learned something. Oh, there's more there, right? So the goal isn't to eliminate stress. The goal is to be very, very curious about how each of us as individuals respond to stress. That's where the difficulty actually is. Stress is stress. I can experience stress as really afflictive and suffering, or I can also experience stress as really challenging. It's why I like to do a puzzle. A puzzle is a problem. It's an unsolved thing, and I've got to figure out how all the pieces go together. And I enjoy it. Sitting down to solve a puzzle is putting myself in a stressful, attention, a problem-solving mode and enjoying the process of solving it. Right? I love that. When we're watching a movie or we're watching a play or a TV show, 2/3 of the way through, stress, right? Oh, there's conflict, there's difficulty, there's stress, and then there's the resolution, right? We love it. That's part of why we love drama, right? Stress itself isn't a problem as such. It's what it brings up in us. And so all of us individually getting very, very curious about what types of things we really wish to avoid because of the feelings we have, and the kind of stress we lean into and don't have a problem with, because it doesn't bring up afflictive feelings for us. It's really important. We actually seek out different forms of constriction and resistance and stress because we like it. I want to go rock climbing, or I want to go running, or I want to go on a path. I've never been on a path before, right? Each one of those has some element of strain in it. It's not a bad thing. So we're just starting by saying the goal here isn't to eliminate stress. The goal here is to be very, very curious about how I respond to certain types of stress and why. Can you feel that I'm describing relationship? I'm describing relationship. So becoming very curious about my emotional reality, my emotional contents, the part of me that's experiencing emotions, is the first step. And the second step is understanding the meaning that I make, the beliefs that I have, the ideas, the way that I think in response to those emotions becomes the second step. And I've just described something we could probably spend 20 years exploring because it's actually quite complicated. But it's just really good for us as mindfulness practitioners to start by going, actually, it isn't so much the stress, the load that's being put on my cart, the thing I'm being asked to carry. It's what it activates in me. And what I experience as stressful, my best friend might experience as delightful or no big deal. And what they experience as really, really difficult, they would avoid it. They would do anything to get away from it. We might experience as not a heavy load at all. It's quite personal. So it's internal. And I want to get really intimate with how I feel, and then all of the thoughts, all of the ideas, all the beliefs, all the meaning that I make out of those emotional reactions in me, because that's where the suffering lies, right? So mindfulness of emotions is the first place I would automatically start when talking about mental health and stress, because what we're really talking about there is afflictive emotions, right? Mental health, we immediately think of things like depression and anxiety, right? Those are emotional states. They're intense sometimes and profound emotional states. And we all know they have a big cognitive component, belief systems and ideas and stories and meaning, right, that amplify those feelings. And so we know, we're talking about mental health and stress. We're talking about an internal landscape, not an external one. You might experience it as stressful and I might not. That means it's in here. And we're immediately know we're talking about emotions and all of our ideas about them. That's what we're actually talking about. Wow. So I hope you can feel, as we're all together today, wow, as somebody who's interested in mindfulness, like you obviously are, as somebody who may even have a long-term mindfulness practice, even a short-term mindfulness practice, you have exactly the perfect tool to start looking at your own mental health and reactions to stress. You couldn't have picked a better tool. than regular mindfulness practice. Regardless of what shape that mindfulness practice takes, you're strengthening the muscle that we need to start being curious about our emotional lives. Right? I have to at least be able to name, this is how I feel. This is the feeling that's showing up right now in me. Or these are the feelings that are showing up now in me. Crucial first step. And then again, eventually, oh, and these are the ideas I have about those. Those are my beliefs. This is the meaning making. There's all sorts of stuff going on up here. And I'm talking about a highly complicated, highly individual, and very intimate, personal, internal landscape. So we have a couple little short exercises we want to do today, but what I hope you can hear before we do that is, as I'm describing to you something I hope you kind of can nod along with me and recognize, yeah, that's right, he's making sense. Mental health and stress is an internal landscape, and it's a very subjective experience that I am having of resistance and suffering and, right, or sadness or anxiety or confusion or grief. And what Busshō is talking about is remembering that I have another part of me, mindful awareness, that wants to accompany that suffering, that wants to understand it, that wants to allow it, that wants to listen to it, that wants to relate to it, that wants to hold it. Busshō is reminding me I am both of those things. Stress is present. Resistance is present. It's maybe sadness or confusion or grief or shame or anxiety is present. Yeah, that makes sense. And I have the capacity, I am the capacity to be with that experience in a way that's going to be fundamentally healing. What I'm hoping you can feel, because I can feel it when I talk about this, is when I'm feeling really depressed or anxious or lost or scared or alone or confused, that part just wants to be seen and known. It really wants to be seen and known. And so much of what we describe, all of us, so much of what we describe as mental health issues, mental health difficulties, mental health challenges, and those of us who have experienced it, we recognize that a crucial part of it is it has this quality about it that makes us feel lonely and isolated and unknown. Like no one can get to me. No one can understand me. I'm isolated. It's just me. No one understands. That kind of thing is universal when people are describing mental health or stress. The feeling of being alone, being misunderstood or not understood. And so I'm reminding all of us to be mindful of those experiences is already meeting a crucial need, a crucial human emotional need of presence, just presence. The part of us that says, it sounds like it's really hard. Tell me more about that. Help me understand what it's like. We can feel how good that's really important. That's not a problem-solving function. That's a connecting function. And that's what mindfulness is. Mindfulness doesn't solve problems. It's not its job. It's there to just connect and hold and allow and feel and understand and accompany. It's the container for the stress. We put stress or depression or sadness or difficulty or anxiety in the arms or in the light of somebody who cares about it, where it matters, and you can feel there's something different happening now. There's something different happening now. I know I'm repeating myself a lot, but it's because all of our core understanding here is the opposite of everything I'm saying. If I have mindfulness, then this thing goes away. Like it pushes it off stage. And I'm describing the opposite. It's a loving container in which to put it. So let me read you a short little thing here. I found this on the internet. Teaching people how to name, understand, and regulate their emotions is crime prevention. It is. It's addiction prevention. It's generational healing. It's how we stop raising adults who explode or implode or shut down at the first sign of emotional discomfort. Emotional regulation is not just a soft skill, it's actually survival. It's the foundation of a society where people can disagree without dehumanizing, where accountability isn't seen as attack, and where conflict doesn't always have to happen, and it doesn't always have to mean violence. If we want a better world, we can start with our own emotional education. Wow. That's cool. That's really cool. So mindfulness of emotion, again, something for the more experienced practitioners here today are well familiar with. Mindfulness of emotion is usually taught traditionally after mindfulness of body and mindfulness of breathing. Two things we already did. That's not everybody, but generally speaking, we get pretty good at being present to the body. We get pretty good at being present to a breathing body. And then we start to include, hey, what emotions can I notice along with the body and the breath? And what this means for most of us folks, honestly, is just practice. What am I feeling? I wonder what I'm feeling right now. What am I feeling? I'm just curious. What am I feeling right now? And that means I have to develop a feeling vocabulary. I really do. I do this with a lot of people that I work with, but I do it myself. I download one of those wonderful lists. There's a million of them online. Just lists of emotions, or the emotion wheel, where they put them all on a big round wheel. Mindfulness of emotion. I develop a feeling vocabulary, which helps me actually to identify what it is I am noticing in me. And I start to notice, wow, fear has a bunch of different faces, and anger has a bunch of different faces, and sadness and hope and joy, they all have a bunch of different faces. And I get much, much, much better at going, oh, this is how I feel. Oh, this is how I feel. This is how I feel. Right? People who are really experienced mindfulness practitioners at any given moment of any given day, you could say, hey, name three emotions you're feeling right now. And they'd be able to go, oh, okay, boom, boom, boom. Right? Because they're happening. They're happening. They're part of the weather of the human experience. Like gravity. Is gravity happening? Yep, there it is. Oh, now I'm aware of it. Are emotions happening? Yeah, of course. Oh, now I'm aware of them. Is breathing happening? Oh, right. Yeah, there. Now I'm aware of it. So this first step is genuinely just curiosity about, what am I feeling? What am I feeling? What am I feeling? So in your own practice, in your own sitting practice, if you want, you can include a few minutes of just being curious about what the emotions that are present are. I'm just noticing them, that's all. Just naming them. Just naming them. It's like going for a walk and noticing, that's that kind of tree, that's that kind of tree, that's that kind of tree, that's that kind of animal, that kind of animal, that kind of animal, that kind of plant, that kind of plant, that kind of plant. Just noticing what's there, right? It sounds deceptively simple, but most adults on planet Earth have a very small emotion vocabulary. Very, very small. And most adults on planet Earth, if you ask them, hey, how are you feeling? They don't know the answer, or they deny feeling anything. So can you feel, when we're talking about mental health, when we're talking about stress, the first thing we have to do is start paying attention to the landscape of emotions. Wow. Way before we get to what the belief system is and what the messages are and the meaning making and all that kind of stuff. Wow. To just start with basic recognition. Oh, some type of suffering is present. And then being able to name that as sadness or anger or resistance or confusion or grief. Wow. Lots of pain present in the human experience. It's part of being a human. Right? And there's a huge power in the naming. Yeah. Okay. The second exercise, I'm just going to describe it to you because time precludes us going into this in any great depth, but it's okay. It's a simple one and it's portable. It's portable. I promise you'll have an opportunity to do this today. If you have 5 minutes, you'll be able to do this today, and you'll go, oh, I see what he's doing. I'm just going to describe it to you, and you can take it with you, okay? We're going to use the term self-compassion. I know you know that term. Everybody knows the term self-compassion. We all know what compassion is. Compassion, strictly speaking, it's etymological. I think it's Latin origin. Co or com means with. A co-worker, somebody I work with, co-worker. Co or com means with, and passion in this setting doesn't mean delicious Italian food. Passion in this setting means suffering or difficulty or struggle or resistance. Compassion, to be with suffering, to be with suffering, to be with suffering. Therefore, self-compassion, to be with my suffering. I am with my suffering. I am with my suffering. I'm saying that a lot of times. I am with my suffering. You will notice I am not saying I am making my suffering go away. I am covering my suffering. I am repressing my suffering. I am suppressing my suffering. I am distracting myself from my suffering. I have made an enemy out of my suffering, and I wish to defeat it. I'm saying with. I'm being with it. Compassion. Self-compassion. Wow. Every mindfulness practitioner here just went, oh, that's all we do. He's just described mindfulness. Compassion is another word for mindfulness. Yeah, when suffering is present, which it always is, to some degree anyway, it's just me including that in my awareness, just like including breath in my awareness, or including the experience of gravity in my awareness, or including the experience of cloth against my skin. It's happening all the time. It's just there, and I notice it. I'm including it. I'm just with it. Busshō just described self-compassion as mindfulness of whatever happens to be present in my emotional world. I already know what this is. Yeah, you're right, you do. So the next time we find ourselves in a moment of, we'll say stress, we'll say suffering, we'll say affliction, difficulty, pain, anything we don't like, right? This is why I'm going to want to take a medication or go to the doctor or something, right? Those are important things. But the next time we have a moment of, I can feel I'm gritting my teeth against my life right now. I'm going to acknowledge that that's happening. That's it. Oh, this is a moment of suffering. Like this right now, this thing that I'm experiencing, this is hard right now. That's it. That's literally it. Nothing beyond that. Oh, I can see fear is in me. Fear is arising in me. Anxiety is arising in me. Sadness is arising in me. Anger, whatever afflictive state you want. Oh, this is it. I can see it's happening. This is just right now a moment of difficulty. That's it. Mindfulness of emotion. I've just named the thing that's happening. I've just named the thing that's happening. What I haven't done is I haven't moved it up here into my ideas, and I haven't amplified it. This is terrible, and I am terrible. This always happens. Why does this always happen? Can you feel that's something else? Just, right now it's hard. I can feel it's hard right now. This is a moment of suffering. With suffering, compassion. I can breathe with that. I can just breathe with that for maybe 3 breaths, maybe 5 breaths. That's all. Just noticing it's here. That's it. Literally just noticing it's there. Do you feel like what? I know I'm repeating myself a lot. I know this is simple, but I'm repeating myself a lot because it's difficult. It's simple, but this is the opposite of what we normally do, right? Just the opposite of how we normally act as human beings. So that's why I'm being so repeating this simple thing over and over. Oh, I see it. I am not it, but I see it. I'm relating to it. Oh, suffering is showing up. Hey, sadness, I see that you're here. It's hard right now. I see that you're here. That's all we're doing. It's a profound moment because there's not defense against it. I'm not amplifying it. I'm not making it mean anything. I'm not having a story about it. I'm just experiencing it. I'm like, oh, it's cold in this room. This is what it's like to feel cold. Right? Okay. Right? It's a really, really important thing. Really, really important. Yeah. Step number 2. This is self-compassion now, remember, right? Step number 1, just acknowledge, oh, this is what it is. I recognize it. Step number 2, we're going to do something else that we did in our sitting 40 minutes ago, which is everybody has this. I want to recognize this is a universal human experience. First is, oh, it's happening in me. I know what this is. This is confusion. This is sadness. This is anxiety. I know what this is. And second, oh, this happens to everybody. That's it. You just have to remember, right, the experience I'm having right now, on some level, is shared by all human beings. Everybody knows this one, some version of this one. My sadness, everybody knows what it's like to be sad. My anxiety, everybody knows what it's like to be scared. My confusion, everybody knows what it's like to be confused. The reason we're doing this is because it helps us understand this isn't a personal defect. I'm not suffering right now because of some inherent flaw that's about me. I'm having a moment of suffering because human beings have moments of suffering, all of us. And suddenly I'm part of a web of people. How many people right now are scared? How many people right now are hopeful? How many people right now are confused? How many people right now, right? Yeah, many, 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 millions and millions, right? There's something really important about understanding I am part of a large community of human beings who are experiencing and have experienced this very same thing. Right? Not alone. Do you feel how that's the antidote to the I'm alone and no one understands? Right? And then finally, 3 steps. I'm a great fan of the number 3. So 3 steps. Third step is, oh, since I've recognized that I'm having a difficult moment, just like everybody has had a difficult moment and a variation on this very difficult moment, I am going to treat myself and speak to myself and receive my own suffering the way I would treat the suffering or speak to someone that I dearly loved who is having this very same experience. If it was my dear friend, my child, my parent, my spouse, who was feeling the sadness or the confusion or the grief or the anxiety, I would immediately move into, how do I be present to you? How do I speak to you? What do you need to hear? Right? And the reason we're doing this sounds a little science-y, but that's okay. The reason we're doing this is it moves us into a caregiving relational place. I want to give care for someone who's suffering. I want to give them care. Even if I don't do anything, even the way I'm present is care. And I am also the one who's receiving that care. The caregiving system, the compassion system in us is awake. It's not an adversarial system. I'm not here to defeat an experience. I'm here to care for an experience. And I'm the one who's offering the care, and I'm the one who's receiving the care. Wow. People who do this, self-compassion, become much more resilient human beings. They become much more resilient. They just bounce. They become more buoyant because moments of distress, moments of emotional anxiety are much, much, much less. We experience them as less significant or less triggering because we're so good at holding and getting accustomed to doing all 3 things we have just described. Recognize it's a moment of suffering. Oh, this is a moment of suffering. It won't last because no experience does, but this is a moment of suffering, right? This is a universal human experience. Everybody does this. Everybody has this experience. And now I want to relate to myself as someone who needs care. And I'm the one who's giving that care. Boom, boom, boom. When I do that with little tiny moments of affliction, I get better at doing it for medium-sized moments of affliction, which means I get better at doing it for large moments of affliction. It's incredibly important. So self-compassion, self-compassion, self-compassion. It's a natural extension, my friends, of mindfulness practice. It actually just happens kind of on its own. But if you want to do more research on this, I hope my very simplified 3-point system gives you a place to start. You certainly can start knowing just what I've told you, but you also can do some research on this. There's a lot of different variations and a lot of different versions. But we are mindfulness practitioners. And so when we start to dig into issues of mental health and stress, to start where we all are able to start with, where's my body? Where's my breath? How am I feeling? Oh, I can tell when suffering is present. I know that's an experience everybody has. Can you feel we're moving into a totally different relationship? A totally different relationship with mental health and a totally different relationship with stress. It's really, really beautiful. And even though it's simple, it's deeply powerful. It's profoundly powerful. So I'm so glad we get to do this together. I'm so glad you are flexing the muscles and practicing and getting better at and working on developing the capacity to do this, because it is deeply transformative. And I know we're getting close on time here. I want to switch to the questions that folks are asking here. So I'm going to put my notes away and see what I can find in my chat here. I promise to end on time. Let's see here. Is there a difference between everyday stress and chronic stress from mindfulness perspective? Do they need different approaches? What a great question. I think it's a yes and. I think it's a yes and. The dynamic is always the same. The way we constrict and resist, whether it happens over and over and over, or whether it's a one-off, the resistance and constriction is going to be the same dynamic. But the way we relate to chronic stress, boy, we really need a sustained practice for chronic stress, because what we understand there is I am dealing with something that is going to come up over and over and over, or is omnipresent in my experience. And so it means it's a little bit harder, and sometimes a lot harder, for us to get outside of and be the observer of. Right? Mindfulness is, I am observing the breath. I'm observing the body. I'm observing the emotions. I'm not those things, but I am, or I'm not limited by them, but I'm observing them. And when pain, for example, is always present in the body, it's difficult to get outside of that, if that makes sense. I know that's a little trippy and a little conceptual, but one of the reasons we start with body and breath in mindfulness practice is because they're always present. You're never not breathing, and you're never not touching the earth, really. They're always there. Therefore, they become the background noise. You don't even hear it anymore. They become the wallpaper, we say. You just don't even see it anymore. And so to pull that into awareness means, oh my God, I've got to become aware. I'm in a breathing body that's feeling gravity. And with chronic stress, it's a lot like that. Like, oh, right, the system has a built-in grind to it. Whatever the system is, the relationship or the body or the strain on the whatever it is. So it makes it a little more challenging, but the dynamic is the same. And the only difference in the approach there, I'm imagining, is if it's chronic, it involves and it necessitates a chronic response. I have to always have a regular practice. Just like I would care for a health issue that was chronic, I always have to be keeping track of, as opposed to if it's kind of a one-off or an everyday thing, it comes and goes, I survive, and my boat finds its way upright again. It doesn't demand as much energy, and it doesn't demand as much attention, I think, as chronic conditions do. It's a great question, though. I hope that was helpful. Can mindfulness help with feelings of burnout, or does burnout require something more like rest and change? Boy, that's a great question, too. I'm going to say all of the above. Again, the dynamic is the same. Burnout usually is a fancy way. We all know what that means, but it probably means I was ignoring the signs. There was part of me going, we're getting near the edge here. And I was like, nope, can't stop. We're really, really, really getting near the edge here. This is all I've got. Nope, can't stop. And I pushed past it and I got burned out. So I wasn't paying attention. That's what people do. Sometimes you have to. We have no choice. I know that this thing is giving me some, signals, stop, 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 and I can't. But burnout is when I've ignored this long enough that Now I really do need to rest and allow my reserves to restore themselves. But regular practice also means, mindfulness practice also means I'm much more dialed in to the signals I'm going to be getting about, boy, I'm really getting tired now, right? This thing is really, really becoming difficult. Now that I'm aware of that, I'm going to catch it a lot earlier, and I can hopefully make different decisions about how to care for myself. Great question. I love that. I'll keep going here. If I am angry at a person, should I speak out or wait for the anger to go away and calmly discuss? Oh, I can hear my grandma. My grandma was the one who knew when I was a kid I was always getting in trouble for saying it too quick. Just bleh. I just blurt it out and then go, oh man. And so she was the one who said, sweetheart, count to 10. Sweetheart, count to 10. She didn't say mindfulness. She didn't know the word mindfulness. But honey, just count to 10. So the way that you phrased the question makes me guess you already know the answer. Probably all would all go, yeah, I can tell that I'm really angry right now and I'm really reactive. That's not a problem. It's just a feeling. It's okay. I'm experiencing anger. But if we do the three things, oh, I notice anger is present. That's suffering. It's tough to be angry. I'm going to sit with that. Hi, anger. There you are. I can breathe with you for just a little bit. Just a few seconds. Suffering is present. Oh, this is anger. I know anger. Everybody in the world knows anger. Everybody in the whole world. I'm not alone. This is a universal human experience. Right? A universal human experience. I named it. I'm turning toward it. And then like, well, what would I say to somebody that I really cared about who's like, hey, it sounds like you're really angry right now. I'm sorry. That's terrible. That's a really hard feeling to be with. What's going on for you? Why don't you tell me more about it? I'll listen to myself, hang out with myself, breathe into it a little bit. I think we all know after 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 days, however long, I'm going to be much more able to relate to my friend and go, wow, I got so angry there. I could see what came up in me. I know what this is about. Can we have a conversation? I'm feeling disconnected from you and I want to feel closer, right? A wiser part of us has a chance to kind of get in a word there. You know, how to pause racing thoughts in stressful situations. First, just the awareness like, oh, it's going fast up there. I see that it's going fast. That part is crucial. I see that it is going fast. I'm not going fast. It is. This machine is as fast as it can. Oh, wow, you're busy up there, aren't you? Okay, you're busy up there. Can you feel the part that's watching? I see that it's busy for you up there. Sounds like there's a lot going on. Okay. That's not suffering. It's just a lot of thoughts. You can have a lot of thoughts without suffering. It's not a problem. A busy brain is just a busy brain, right? And I know you're asking for maybe more of a particular technique there. From the spirit of wanting to connect, not the spirit of a fast brain is a suffering brain and I want to try to control it. Because a fast brain is not a suffering brain. It isn't. If you're learning something brand new and you've never learned it before and you're, wow, that's great. Your brain is going 1,000 miles an hour and making all sorts of different connections. There's no suffering present. Lots of thoughts are just lots of thoughts. That doesn't mean it's suffering necessarily. But I know you're asking for something. And what I would suggest is notice the space between the thoughts. Don't try to slow them down. Don't push the river. But you will notice there is a space between thoughts. We tend to think in language, right? And therefore we think in words and sentences and paragraphs, I guess. I don't know that they're that organized for you, but they are for me. And then we start to notice they're like railroad cars. No matter how fast that train is going, there's still a big space between those cars. So start to notice the space between the thoughts. Yeah. Oh, I'm not going to be able to get to all these. Thank you for all of your questions. Repeat the 3 steps. Yeah, when you go back and listen to the recording, I hope they'll make sense the way that they flow. First is recognize. I recognize this is a moment of suffering. affliction is present, suffering is present. I notice that anger has come, whatever it is. I notice this is a moment of suffering. Yeah, this is a moment of suffering. Number two, this is universal experience. Every human being has felt this way. I personally like to think right now there are probably 10 million people who are having this experience. Whatever the number, I'm making up a number, but I am not alone. Millions of people right now are having this very same experience. It's universal. And then finally, now that I recognize there's a suffering being in the room, how do I want to relate to a suffering being that I care for very deeply? Yeah. And if that's hard, if treating yourself with kindness is not something you have a lot of practice doing, then just imagine it's somebody that you really love who's the one who's having the suffering. What would they need to hear? How might I relate to them? How might I give them some care? Loving presence, that kind of thing. Those are the 3 steps. Yeah. All right. Yeah, boy, I wish I had more time. I know I don't, so I'll stop scrolling. I'm so sorry I didn't have time to get to all of them. This is the last in our series, and so I just want to thank you all for your engagement. I know we don't all have time to, I would love to take more time and get to all the questions and spend an hour on all of them. What's really clear to me, and after having done this now with all of you here at ACM for these months, is boy, there's a lot of really sincere people out there who have a genuine heartfelt interest in this and are wanting to practice and learn more. And I'm with you. Me too. Me too. I've been doing this for a long time, but boy, every day I see something I didn't see the day before. And every day my container gets a little bit bigger, just like yours. And every day our container gets a little kinder, a little gentler. Not only are we quick to see our own questions, but we're quick to begin to develop the ability to answer them. It's really beautiful. So I'm moved by it. I'm moved by the response to this. I'm really grateful that all of you are out there doing this with me. We're not alone. And it really matters. It matters to a world that's hurting. Every moment of kindness that we offer ourselves, every moment of presence that we offer this hurting world makes a difference. I absolutely believe that, and I know you do too. So thank you. Thank you very much for your practice. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your engagement. And I very much hope to see you again. I very much hope to see you again. But if I don't, travel safely, be well, continue to treat yourself with lots of care. It matters. And blessings as we go. See you soon, I hope. Bye-bye, everybody.